Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. This is a great crowd. I'm really pleased with the turnout. This is what shows that we have an interested residents and community, and this is great for our HOA to show up, and we love that you have an interest in our golf enterprise. I'm not going to say too much today, as much as I love the sound of my own voice, but I'm going to let the subject matter experts talk today. They're all going to give you a little presentation on an aspect of our golf enterprise, and then at the end we'll have opportunity for you to question them on some of the things that they might have missed. We have Seth Chury from Troon. We have Matt Hudson, our Director of Golf. Matt Cambick from our board and our construction expert for today. And Michelle Pendleton and Justin Bright with our marketing team. So they're all going to give you a little presentation. And then at the end we'll have the Q&A. You can line up at that time. We'll keep the questions to 2 minutes, but this is an open meeting, not anything particular. We don't have to have all of the sort of formal things that we have. Yes?
Could you say your name, please? I don't know who you are.
Certainly. Lee Lexell, Chair of the Golf Committee. And the unimportant Lexell in this room right now. So, without further ado, let's start with Seth Chury from Troon.
Thank you, Lee. So, my name is Seth Chury, and I am with Troon. I might look familiar. I might look similar to the Seth Chury I've invited that you met back in April or May. Yeah, some exciting changes have occurred that I want to tell you all about, and Troon is our new company that has a lot of exciting benefits and programs that I want to tell you about. So I am a senior vice president with Troon, and I am responsible on behalf of Troon for the oversight of the golf operation for Saddlebrook 2. Someone asked me earlier today just how the reporting structure worked, and so I just thought I would clarify that. So both Matt and Paul report up to me and to Troon, and of course Troon reports to the board. So I just wanted to give you that information. So what happened? How did we go from invited to Troon? So on July 1st, Troon acquired 18 management contracts from the Dallas-based company Invited, which is formerly Club Corp, not to complicate it even further. But that happened on July 1st, and as I mentioned, I transitioned over from Invited to Troon, so I'm happy to be part of the Troon team. And so that all occurred just about 70 days ago or so. And then, of course, Saddlebrook 2's contract was assigned to Troon, and it's being branded as a Troon Club. I'll give you a little bit of history and some background on the company. The company was founded over 30 years ago by a gentleman by the name of Dana Garmany. And the current president, his name is Tim Shantz. He's the president and CEO. The company currently has under management or consulting over 800 golf courses or clubs around the world. A number of those are semi-private clubs similar to what we have here at Saddlebrook. Here's a little bit of history on the company. So 1990 is when Troon North Golf Club, who's played Troon North in this room? Looks like we've got several hands out there. So Troon North is what led to the creation of our company Troon, and that was Dana Garmany. And so the company was actually founded in 1995, and its first office, I apologize, international office was created or developed in 1998 in Australia. The private club management division, Troon Privé, was launched in 1999. The company acquired Honors Golf, which was the largest golf management organization in the Southeast. Caddy Master was acquired by Troon in 2015. Caddy Master is the leading service provider of caddies around the country. They provide caddies to two noteworthy clubs, one of them being Pebble Beach, and one gives a green jacket every April. Continuing on here, they have a new division as of 2016 that they created called True Club Solutions, and that focuses on kind of project management advisory services. They acquired the Cliff Drysdale Company, focusing on tennis and racket, in 2018. They acquired a food and beverage company called Real Food in 19. Some additional acquisitions in 21. And in 22, they expanded their service offerings to HOA management through the acquisition of Icon. And then just recently here, this year, they've actually gotten into the golf entertainment space. And that company or division is called Golf's on Social. There's a number of different brands that make up the company. You can see there's 12 here. I won't go through each one of them, but they basically represent the different divisions and services that are offered throughout the organization. And suffice it to say, there's expertise in the company throughout all these divisions for every area of the club, golf course, resort that you can imagine. In terms of experience and expertise, there's over 500 staff members in the corporate offices. These offices are around the world. There's 16 different offices worldwide. The headquarters is based just a couple hours away in Scottsdale, which I think is a real benefit for Saddlebrook too, because a number of the support resources are based out of that office. So it's just an easy drive, and we were talking about that at lunch. It's really been nice just to see whether it be retail or golf course support, just to be able to get in the car and drive and be here within a couple of hours. Number of in-house resources dedicated to, as I mentioned, every area of the club and the golf course, and a number of the golf courses that Troon manages host PGA Tour, LPGA, Champions Tour, and the World Tour events. So a lot of fantastic golf courses, very high quality throughout the country. One of the biggest ways our company is able to support our clients is just through our resources and programs, and that's, I went through that company history, and there were a number of acquisitions, and really the main purpose of those acquisitions was really just to expand our expertise and to make sure that we were really able to deliver value in every area of the club and facility. And so you can see kind of a listing here. These are the different areas that we provide support and we believe add value. Club operations, food and beverage, sales and marketing, finance and accounting, human resources, procurement, purchasing, agronomy, legal, technology, retail, design and development, risk management, racket sports, golf instruction, and HOA. I'll give you one really cool example that actually happened to me this morning. So one of our other clients here in Tucson is Skyline Country Club, and they had some water damage through some kind of an accident of some sort. I don't know what happened, if a pipe burst or what happened, and caused some pretty significant damage throughout the clubhouse. Their insurance company hasn't been as responsive as the club would have liked. Surprise, surprise there. And so I reached out to our general counsel at Troon. He said, well, let me get our risk team at Troon involved. They actually have a relationship within that insurance company, and they think that they can move it along very, very quickly just because of that kind of corporate influence or pressure that they are able to apply. Whereas Skyline without that would have just been, kind of battling it out as a single club. So that's just one small example that happened to me actually this morning. Another big area of support is purchasing, procurement, cost efficiencies. And so Troon is the largest operator of clubs in the world. And so they have established national purchasing relationships with every kind of first-in-class, top-class vendor. And so they've negotiated great pricing that Saddlebrook has available to them. And one thing that I'll kind of mention in a future slide that actually has expanded under Troon compared to Invited is that purchasing is now available to Saddlebrook's food and beverage as well as facilities maintenance. So that was not available under Invited. So that's really valuable, and I know that we were again talking about that earlier today, is already paying dividends. Sales and marketing, obviously critically important here at Saddlebrook. We need to be able to drive revenue, grow revenue, and that's an important priority to our company, to Matt and his team and the board, frankly. And so sales and marketing is a very, very important part of that. We have partnered with the HOA2 marketing team and really operate in a very seamless way. But what our company tries to do is just bring the expertise from the golf side and make sure that we have great strategic plans developed, and then we're just maximizing on all of the opportunities that Troon has available. And this particular club, Saddlebrook, that again has the annual passes as well as daily fee golf. That is something, that structure is a structure that's very, very common throughout Troon, and we have a lot of experience in that, and so I think that's an area that we can absolutely excel in. Okay, so we added a slide here of just trying to be very specific. What are some specific details in terms of what does this mean for HOA2? So one is, you all may recall through Invited, there was a program called X-Life, and that's a reciprocity program where you have access to clubs around the country. So that continues. That does not go away. That does not change. That's still available, and that will continue for the life of the Saddlebrook contract. Troon Advantage, which is Troon's reciprocity program, that is going to be discussed in great detail in Matt's presentation. But to give you kind of another example, again, I was at Skyline. The board president just played a course through Troon Advantage yesterday in Carlsbad, and he was just extremely happy with the pricing and the quality and how simple it was to make that reservation. And that Troon Advantage program is available to all annual pass holders. Vendor discounts, I mentioned that earlier, not just for golf, but also for food equipment, clubhouse, pool supplies. Again, that's a new benefit under the Troon contract, was not there under Invited. Troon construction support on new projects at no additional cost. Gentleman who heads up that department, he and his colleague have already been out to kind of look at, potential future projects, and I think he's going to be great support moving forward. We mentioned the sales and marketing. That's obviously critically important here. And then also Pro Shop merchandising support. That is also a new addition relative to what we had at Invited. So I'm excited about what those resources can do for Saddlebrook too. And that's all I have. I was going to pass it on to Matt. So thanks everyone for your time today.
Thanks so much, Seth. Our Director of Golf, Matt Hudson.
Thank you. So before I get started with my presentation, I just have a quick question I want to pass on a piece of information. So how many people in the room, by show of hands, played in the Folds of Honor event this past weekend? Man, first of all, give yourselves a big round of applause. So the reason I want you guys to be recognized is, and most of you that raised your hands probably saw this, or saw this the day of, or saw this on 4Ts, but Saddlebrook 2 raised $43,000 on Saturday for Folds of Honor. So the other really cool part to that is that this was our 6th event in 6 years. And that $43,000 put us over $200,000 donated to Folds of Honor, which equates to 40 scholarships for family members or veterans who have been injured or fallen on hard times or whatnot. So supporting those veterans and those families, super awesome. I can't thank the community enough. So I just wanted to say thank you. So thank you. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in golf. So we're going to talk about, the first thing we're going to talk about is the plan for golf in October. So we've got some things that are occurring right now, some things that have shifted a little bit here and there. So we're going to talk about the overseed plan at Preserve, and then we're also going to talk about what's going on at Mountain View, and then Mr. Cambick is going to talk a little bit more about where we're at with the construction and the renovation. And then finally, as Seth mentioned, we're going to talk about the Troon Advantage program, how great it is for one, and two, how easy it is to utilize, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, let's talk about the overseed plan at the Preserve. So number one, overseed dates at the Preserve are October 9th through October 29th. So we're going to close on Monday, October 9th. We'll be closed for 3 weeks. That gives us the opportunity that gives Paul and his team the opportunity to do everything they need in order to come out of that 3-week period with a really, really good golf course for the winter season. Okay. Now, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm probably going to get booed for it, and I'm sorry, but we will be cart path only as soon as we reopen from overseed. Please boo me now. Boo me now. Okay, cool. All right, I got applause. Thank you. So again, we're going to reopen for normal operations starting October 30th. Until we close on October 9th, we will have normal operations with the double tee that we've utilized all summer long. And from the feedback that we've received and from an operational standpoint, that double tee has been really, really successful with only one golf course open, I think, right? Right? Thank you. Things have worked out really well, gave everybody the opportunity to get as early a tee time as possible. I get it. There are times when your tee times fall into the afternoon, and sometimes that occurs, and I'm sorry. We run out of room. But that's a good problem to have. We have a lot of golfers, so that's good. All right, so let's move on to Mountain View. So here is the plan, the nuts and bolts of the plan. So October 9th, which is the first day that we close the Preserve for overseed, we will open the back 9, so 10 through 18 at Mountain View, and also the driving range. Okay. We will open the remainder of the golf course by November 1. That is the current plan. Now, initially, if we all remember when we talked about this, or started talking about this project, gosh, some 18 months ago, Matt-ish, somewhere right in that area, 18 months to 2 years ago, the idea was that this project was a 6-month project. So we started May 1, May, June, July, August, September, October. So November 1 is really, truly still the target date. Okay. We were hoping to pull that forward and have some more of the golf course open prior to that, but some things occur, and we're back to the original date of November 1. So we greatly appreciate your patience while we move through the project. Association play. So because we will only have 9 holes open at Mountain View, we will be suspending association play. I've spoken to all of the presidents of the associations, so 18-hole men, 18-hole ladies, 9-hole men, 9-hole ladies, and the putters. The putters actually will have a place because they will have the practice putting green. But we will suspend association play until we have a full 18-hole golf course open. So at worst, it could be 3 weeks. But that's kind of where we're at. So November 1, we'll reinstitute association play. If we can do it earlier, we'll do it earlier as well. All right, so that's what we're doing at Mountain View and the Preserve. So we've got to overseed. We're going to be cart path only for a short time at Mountain View. But on that same subject, we should not be cart path only at Mountain View because we're not overseeing fairways. So because of the disruption with the construction and so on and so forth, we'll have non-overseeded fairways this winter, which means that we will not be cart path only, to my knowledge. Okay? So that leads me into Troon Advantage program. Troon Advantage is a great program for you to try to take advantage of while we only have 9 holes open, and there are some great facilities in Tucson that you can request tee times at. So let's talk a little bit about the program first. So as an annual pass holder, you are invited to take advantage of preferred rates at Troon Resort and Daily Fee facilities worldwide. So if you feel like you want to go to the East Coast and there's a property there, you can request a tee time up to 60 days in advance. So you could make tee times right now. Each annual pass holder, that includes the afternoon, can bring up to three guests and enjoy the same rate at the facility that you're visiting. So in order to receive the Troon Advantage rates, tee time requests do have to be made through the website, and we're going to talk through that in just a second. It's super easy. It has to go through the online portal, and again, the tee times can be made up to 60 days in advance, which is really, really a nice benefit. So how do we get there? All you got to do, go to troonadvantage.com, and then we're going to talk through the remainder of it here. Okay? So before we talk through that, though, let's talk about some of the courses that are available. So this program is limited to participating daily fee and resort facilities. So 99.9% of the properties that are daily fee and resort facilities in the Troon portfolio do participate. There's facilities in 31 of the 50 United States. So if you're having a hard time finding a property, you're probably in one of those 19 states that probably don't have a property, or at least a daily fee property. Like I said, there are quite a few properties in Arizona. There's a bunch in Phoenix. But locally, you can go to El Conquistador, which is right around the corner. Quarry Pines, right on the other side of town. Star Pass. Star Pass is a Marriott property that they just transitioned, I believe, 1 month after we did, to Troon management. And then, of course, Troon North, the flagship up in Scottsdale. And another really, really fun one, I always kind of like to mention this one, Weston Kierland. They have 27 holes. They're in Scottsdale. They're in the heart of Scottsdale. It's a great location and awesome golf course, so it's a lot of fun. So I'm just going to talk really quickly through the process. So it's super simple. Go to troonadvantage.com. That's the first thing. On the left-hand side, you'll see a list. Starts with Play Troon. Look down about halfway, and you'll see a link for public daily fee golf, or resort daily fee golf, excuse me. So you click on that. That'll take you to a list of domestic and international locations. So hopefully some of you are traveling internationally and get to take advantage of this. But if not, select the state that you're going to. In our case, we like Arizona. Super simple. The facility that you want to request a tee time, it'll show you the rates. So it'll show you when they're available, if there's any blackout times, so on and so forth. All you have to do next, just click Request a Tee Time. See, this is really pretty simple. Click, again, so select Request a Tee Time, and it's going to go to a fillable form. Super easy. Just fill out the form, tell them what you want. Once that form is complete and submitted, it sends an email to the director of golf and head golf professional at the facility that you're requesting a time. So the facility you want to visit. Also sends an email to, at this facility, it'll be Mike and myself. The reason that they send an email to the home facility is so that we can verify that you are a member in good standing. Okay? This whole process, once you click submit, takes about 24 to 48 hours, typically. So the facility that you're requesting, let's say you want to go to Troon North. Troon North is just waiting for us to reply to the email and say, yep, Don Sanders, I just saw you, Don Sanders, you are a member in good standing, and yes, he may have a tee time if you have one available for him. So pretty simple. It's important to understand, though, that until you receive an email confirmation from the club you're requesting. So until Troon North reaches back out to Don Sanders, your tee time is not guaranteed. Okay? You will receive everything you need to know in basically a welcome email from the club that you're going to visit with a tee time that you are assigned to. Okay? And again, once you submit that request, it's 24 to 48 hours. If there is possibly a holiday or whatnot, maybe give them an extra day. But it's a very simple process. If someone requests a time and it's been 3 or 4 days, don't be afraid to reach out. Mike or myself would be happy to help with that. But we cannot make tee times through the golf shop for the program. Unfortunately, it has to go through this portal. It's the easiest way for people to track things, for us to verify that that person is a member, get the correct times, and so on and so forth. So the only bad thing about the program is not a negative, it's just not included. Private facilities are not included with this program. So private facilities have access to other private facilities, and resort and daily fee facilities have access to other resort and daily fee facilities. So one doesn't necessarily have access to the other, they don't cross over. So if you don't see a facility on there, chances are it's private. But if you have any questions, myself, Mike, the golf shop team, we would be happy to answer those questions for you and help you through the process if you need a hand. So again, while we're closed or while we only have the 9 holes open, check out the program. Go play someplace cool. I mean, again, you get great rates, as Seth was saying this morning. The discount that the president at Skyline received through the program was significant.
I think it was like 40 or 50% or something like that.
Yeah, it was 40 to 50% off of the rack rate. So it's good stuff. So check it out. Again, if you need any assistance with it, we'd be happy to help. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt. Now, to talk about our Mountain View rebuild, Matt Cambeck.
Thank you, Lee. Okay. That's my wife. She can hear me. That means I'm doing good so far. Next slide, Joey. I'm here instead of Paul. Today we've got 70 pallets of sod, 42,000 square feet that are being laid on the golf course. And this is great news. And he spends most of his day making sure all the sprinkler heads are aimed in the right direction and actually water the sod that gets laid down. You wouldn't think it would be that hard, but it is. And so he's out there doing that, and I get to represent him here today to tell you about what's going on with your golf course. Up on the slide, you got the key stakeholders, and what's important for you to know is this has been a very interesting journey for me. Desert Reflections is owned by Steve Robeson. And since the middle of July, he has been the on-site supervisor. We didn't get off to the fastest of starts. As a matter of fact, the first 75 days were pretty bumpy. And he's changed all of that by personally being on the ground and taking over the supervisory responsibilities. The course architect that we hired is Mike Gogol. If you remember, he's the person that put the Mountain View master plan together. And I can't wait for you to see the changes he's made to the golf course. I know you're going to love them. Our irrigation consultant is Marvin Mills. He's a respected expert in this field. He's only working 5 projects in the Tucson area this summer as we speak. And of course, Paul, who's out on the course right now, is our Troon representative that's hip deep in what goes on out there every day. And if I could take just a second, this is quite a kabuki dance we're going through. We've been overseeding and doing all that, not overseeding, I'm sorry, aerating, sand top dressing, the front 9 while all this work's been going on the back 9. And now as they're completing their work on the back 9, we got to go and do all that same work over there. And so it's been interesting to watch all this happening. And I want to take a second and talk about the board members that have been engaged in this project. I'm going to introduce 3 people to you. Dan Linegar, our president, he's hiding over there. Dan, please wave. Mark Eckert is sitting over here. Mark, wave to the fans. There you go. Dan is our president. Mark is our vice president, and he's also the liaison to the golf committee. So the three of us are joined at the hips most of the time on all matters related to the construction project. I also want Denise Lexell to wave at you, the most important member of the Lexell family. Her role in all of this is she was charged with being the point person on the board to synchronize Walter and his team with the Troon team and all matters related to the Rincon Room, the Mesquite Grill, and the new snack bar. And she's been doing a fabulous job of driving that part of the operation for us. So thank you, ma'am. Next slide, Joey. So what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to get the daggone golf course open. And as you can see, I briefed last week that we were going to open on 2 October. My lips were moving, so you knew I was lying. What happened after the board meeting was Dan Linegar and I had our third construction meeting, Mark, our third construction meeting with the owner, and we found out he's not going to quite deliver everything he was supposed to deliver by 15 September. And so after talking through it for just a few minutes, we came to the conclusion that it was the right thing to do. Dan made the decision right there, and we moved the open date to the 9th of October. What's significant about that to you? We're going to get the golf course around 15, 16, 17 September. That's right, it's a little soft. Paul's plan is to overseed our Mountain View greens on the 18th of September. By opening on the 9th, we give him 3 weeks to give us perfect greens. And I know how much we enjoyed them last year, and I'm sure that we will enjoy them this year. The golf shop will be ready to go. The snack bar will be ready to go, thanks to the leadership of Denise and Walter and his team and the good folks from the Troon team. And the range ball shack has been remodeled. And this exterior will look like our restroom stops, the stucco surrounds. It'll look a lot better than the Muni facility that Lee Lexell used to call that particular facility. Let me walk you through the course so you can see where we're at. And I played golf this morning, and on my way down to lunch with Seth at noon, I drove through the course so I could see all the great work that's going on today, so I could give you the latest. When it comes to irrigation, everything on the backside, everything at the driving range, and this morning, the final heads went into the putting green itself. And so all the irrigation on that side of Mountain View has been complete, well, except for number 9. But you know what I'm talking about, for the back 9, has been completed. And we're green on all things related to irrigation as of today. It's been a long time coming. Next slide, Joey. So the bunkers. We have 15 bunkers between 12 and 18. They're all complete. What does that mean to you? They're all lined. They have drainage in them. I wish I could explain the herringbone drainage system that's inside every bunker now. We're going to have a much different experience with bunker play than we've ever enjoyed here at Saddlebrook HOA 2. There are 4 bunkers on number 11. As I drove through, the greenside bunkers completed, and the 2 fairway bunkers at the end of the fairways you turn to go to the green. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but they're completed, and they've started work this morning on the 4th fairway bunker in 11. I expect that'll be done by tomorrow. There are 2 more bunkers to complete, one at the chipping green and one in the back practice area. Those will be rebuilt as well. You're doing good, Joey. T-decks. All the T-decks are roughed in. T-decks 13 through 18 are grassed. There's only a partial grassing on the front T-deck on 12, and 10 and 11 are not yet ready for hope are going to be started this week, completed next week. Cross your fingers. And the big days today is about sod. I can tell you today that they completed the sand capping on 11, 16, and 17. Extraordinarily important. 16 and 17 were sprigged originally. The sprigging did not take for a myriad of reasons, and so we had to go back to sod. 16 and 17 were the two of the very first 3 holes that we started construction on a long time ago in May, and we're just now getting them grassed. So by the time we get to see them in October, they'll be in great shape. The only sand cap area that hasn't been addressed yet is what do I mean by sand cap area? You probably want to know. Okay. In front of every green, out to 40 to 60 feet depending upon the green, all the dirt was removed and drainage was installed in front of every green. Again, a herringbone. Go ahead, Harry. Let everybody know. That's a good thing. Something you never had before. We now have drainage in front of every green. We call it a sand cap area. Because once the drainage goes in, 4 inches of sand goes on top of the sand cap, or on top of the drainage before the sod is laid. The purpose of all of that is to get all the water runoff and those salts away from the front of the green so they don't burn out. And we don't have to put new sod in every year, as if we've experienced every year since 2014, since I moved here. And so the sand cap areas are going to be an entirely different experience for those of us that play golf. There's a lot of grassing going on in the fairways. As you put the irrigation laterals in, they do damage. Early on, they did big damage, and they've gotten really good. They have what they call a pooler that pulls the irrigation line and the electronic wires all at the same time. And they can run across the fairway in about 15 minutes to put in an irrigation line. And it's doing a lot less damage to the course. But the early holes, 15, 16, 17, required a lot of sodding, and 12 did as well. And so that sod's being put down as we sit in this room. And so hopefully, by the end of today, an awful lot of the sod requirements on the back 9 are going to be completed. The only hole that might be the exception will be 10. Next slide. So concrete work. In putting in the main line, a lot of our cart path, where they crossed, cart path had to be pulled up. And most of that, I'm only aware of 1 concrete panel that hasn't been filled yet. That's on 10. The rest of the golf course has all been repaired. The cart path from 9 to 10 is about 75% complete. The concrete has been poured. Just the 2 ends haven't been tied in yet. All of the concrete that was behind the mesquite grill, the area by the putting green, and then down behind the driving range was all in very poor shape. 28 years old, it was all broken. That's all been torn out. It's going to be new concrete, and it's roughed in. It's ready for the concrete operation, which I don't think will happen until we finish the sanding on the T-deck. Did I miss the T-deck, by the way? Let me tell you about the driving range T-deck. The rough-in is complete. The irrigation is complete. They got to put drainage in yet, and then we'll put the sand back down on top of it. But what happened at the driving range today is yesterday they roughed in to do the concrete pour for the curb that surrounds the artificial turf line that'll be in place at the back of the driving range. And so if you wander up that way, Don Sanders, with your bride Shelley, I'll find you out there again, you'll see the concrete got poured today, and the artificial turf line will be going in very soon. What else do I need to talk about? Okay, next slide. This is a score sheet I put together. I started on August 2nd. We, the board members, I mentioned, Dan and Mark and I, and all of the Brain Trust, that would be Mike Gogol and Marvin Mills and Paul, we've had 3 meetings with the owner of the construction company. And the first one was at the end of June, the second one was at the end of July, and the third one was at the end of August. And his lips moved too. And he made representation to us at the end of June, and I wrote them all down. And it didn't quite come out the way he wrote them down. So at the end of July, I took copious notes. And then I went out and kept score every day. And by the 2nd of August, I figured I better put a score sheet together for the board, because we never had a game plan. We did not know what we were supposed to see on a daily basis. So not only did I put a score sheet together for the board, it went to the president of the construction company, it went to the architect, and it went to the irrigation consultant on a daily basis. What I wanted to let them know is we, your board, were watching them on a daily basis. And so you can imagine how popular we are with the owner of the construction company. So that's what's going on with the course. The pushback of a week was directly related to the fact that they're stumbling to get to the 15 September goal that we established for them back in July. And we needed to buy Paul the time to get that overseed done. So thanks for your patience. You're going to really enjoy playing that 9 holes when you get on it. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. The golf committee is planning to have a ribbon cutting ceremony, and we will do it just for the 9 holes, not waiting for the 18, because why have a ribbon cutting when people have already been playing 9 holes? So right now that's tentatively scheduled for the Sunday the 8th before the opening on the 9th, where we'll have a little get-together at the new golf shop and be able to drive the course and see the course that day. So be watching for that. That's something that we're planning on going with. Next up, we will have our marketing team of Michelle and Justin.
Good afternoon. So I'm Michelle Pendleton. I'm the marketing director, and this is Justin Bright, graphic designer and assistant. We wanted to talk a little bit about branding and golf today. Go ahead, next slide. Thanks, Joy. So just overall, some things that you want to think about when we're doing branding, specifically towards the golf experience, are the values. For them to be reflective of the community values, inclusion, endurance. We want to have kind of a luxury appeal while still being accessible. Branding that's reflective of the experience that you're going to have. You know, a lot of things will kind of evoke a certain emotion, idea, or word association when you see colors, messages, designs. And then competition is something that we look into. We want to be something that sets us apart from competitors. We look at that, we want to be able to stand out in doing that, and part of wanting to stand out to do that is to attract new customers and retain the ones that we have. And then the other piece is consistency. That's consistency with our messages, a cohesive brand across all platforms with images and how you're seeing that marketed. And then to establish trust and credibility with you, the residents, other repeat golfers. And in order to do that, then we're going to create a loyal following. And part of that is everything that we put in the process of when we're doing branding. Next slide, Joy. Just kind of go over that branding process again. So something that for everyone to know, this is just a high level of what branding involves. But for this particular, for golf, it's something that the marketing team here, Saddlebrook, was a part of, as well as Team Invited, which then became Troon, the board of directors, our executive leadership team here, as well as some key residents that are in the golf community. All of those are part of the collaborators in this branding process in helping redefine the brands that we want to set forth. And so with that, we have, just starting off in the phase one, we want to think about what are our goals, what are we trying to achieve before we even get down to the nitty-gritty of that. And then the concept, what are some of the things that we want to be able to do design-wise? We look at a lot of the looking at the competition. What are things that they're doing that make sense? What are things that we've done in the past that perhaps haven't? Putting all those things in place, we then presented some feedback, gave them forth, several renditions and edits for each course and branding, and then get board approval. And then once we have board approval, we put forth a strategy. We really think in place what's the best way to implement this. Branding is universal, not only the things that you're going to see on signs, but there are things that you're going to see, in the golf shop, on apparel, in different ways, both digital and print format. Those are all the things that we put into place. And how flexible is the brand? Is this reaching our target audience and demographic? And by that, we do a market analysis to really understand that and put forth, a cohesive and effective strategy. And then again, we give that to the board, and they then approved. And then the phase forward, which is what we are here and approaching, is the launch of those brands. We have, the preserve that we have put forth, and then we also have to just continue branding strategy. And then what we're going to do is make sure that, the campaigns, the marketing, everything behind that is something that we all can stand behind, understand the story, and be well informed of why we came to the conclusions and the branding that represent us. And so some of the goals that we have on here, to improve overall brand awareness, create a cohesive brand. What you'll see with the branding we've done is that everything ties in and fits together like a family should. That makes sense. It's expressive of the things that we want for the courses here to represent not only the courses, but our community and residents, because that's first and foremost, even though we are a public facility. Part of the other goals that we have in place are to increase both revenue within the golf shop as well as in course of play. Looking at the golf shop year over year, something that hadn't necessarily been done before, but that we are happy that we have Troon to work with, as well as Denise with some focus groups that really listening to residents and what they want in apparel and merchandise. And part of that is what we can help contribute with the brands that we're putting out there. And are these wearable brands? Are these things that people enjoy? And then a lot of that is with creating the new lines of the merchandise and apparel. And then also we wanted to be able to create a loyal subscriber base. Meaning we have a brand that people can get behind, they can support, and they're interested in purchasing and being involved and associated with those brands. Right? And some of the metrics that we put in place for success in those are website visits, increased email subscribers, open rates on those emails that we're sending out, and then also just their social media engagement when we're posting, when we're getting following, not only from residents here, but from those outward for customers. And then key performance indicators are specifically inventorying the logo merchandise that we have, and then looking at those sales from year over year, and then paying attention to, how we're doing and increasing those sales, as well as round of golf, and then also the sales for our snack shop, the links. Right, Joy? Then we determined our target markets. Obviously, we have, those markets that we're looking to appeal to. Residents here are, the number one. And then we have HOA1. We have some of the other surrounding golf courses that you can see, and then competitive frame of reference. And what we do with this is, where do we want to set the bar? What are we genuinely looking to strive to achieve? Maybe we're not there yet, but those are the things that we keep in mind, the practices and the brands that they put forth on how we can slowly and surely get there. Next slide, Joy. And then so just kind of where we started. Some of these, as you can see, have been things that were given to us from the developers themselves. Something when we were considering branding is we wanted it to reflect the community. We wanted to have our own sense of identity. And things that have been around for over decades oftentimes need refreshing. Do they still represent what we want? Does this still make sense? And with, the Mountain View undergoing renovation, rebranding made sense for that, but something that we also wanted to do was it to be reflective of overall the golf experience here. So back in January, we worked with Team Invited in assessing essentially a no-cost soft launch rebrand for the preserve as well. So that was something that we felt was the best approach so that come the end of the year 2023, all of our courses, if not physically, at least the brand sense was representing what we wanted to, a sense of elevated play, an experience that everyone thoroughly would enjoy, and that we wouldn't have, working with logos or branding that was something that was kind of handed down or we were just kind of trudging through. We wanted it to be a cohesive family brand, and we really definitely wanted it to represent the values that we find here.
Right. So when we started out with Team Invited on working on this rebrand, we all kind of started brainstorming what we were looking for in these new logos. Like Michelle said, we wanted to make sure that we really brought it to be a complete brand. Making one new logo and leaving the preserve as it is really wouldn't have been as cohesive as what we're going for. And you'll see in the coming months of our logos that we're really trying to make sure that it all looks like one brand with their unique identities, but they all work well together. Next slide, Joey. So for that collaboration, like I said, we started out, Michelle and I, working with Team Invited, who was very excited on our behalf and with them to work towards a new look for our golf courses, both course-wise, branding-wise, everything, the whole experience. We then, about 80% of the way through, were transitioned over to Troon, and they've been nothing but supportful and helpful in this effort. When we looked at what we wanted to do with the branding, we kind of looked at what surrounds us and what is the community, so things like saguaros, the preserve itself, the essence of the community, the nature that surrounds us, and just the homeowners and the community itself. Next one's Joey. So in evolving the preserve, we just wanted to make sure that we were staying true to our heritage, but also just evolving what we are as the preserve. We wanted to stand out in the crowd and become a symbol of the Sonoran Desert here, but standing out. You'll see that in the saguaro we chose to go a little bit of a different route and a more unique identity as compared to the typical Tucson symbol of the two-armed saguaro. Next slide, Joey. So as a breakdown of our new logo, we've kind of broken it down here into its separate entities. I apologize that that top one is blocked off on that top, but we call that the North Star, and it's a kind of symbol of elevating and improving and are always chasing for a higher standard. The bottom surround of the logo is what we reference in our stunning vistas and angles that you find at every angle of the course at the preserve. And then, like I said, the saguaro, we chose to depict a tall and established one with many arms upon arms, which you can find here in our beautiful Sonoran Desert location. And like I've stated, our main goal was just evolving our branding and making sure that we're always improving. Next slide, Joey. So with each of our brands for golf, we have established two main set colors, which for the preserve, we have terracotta, a beautiful orange, indicative of the colors that surround us, maybe with nature and construction-wise in the houses and the terracotta tiles and pots that surround the homes. Our second color is mesquite, which is a dark, rich brown, which ties into the earth, and also our local mesquite trees. And when it comes to branding, it's not everything is going to be brown and orange. That's more for a marketing purpose and logos and signage and stuff. But when it comes to apparel and all kinds of other fun things, Michelle and I made sure when we worked with the teams that this logo could be used in any kind of colorway. And as you'll see represented by the clothes behind us on the screen, you can have it in any kind of color because as a single color logo, it works on basically every color as long as you just have the highlighted color at a different enough tone. Next slide, Joy. And then this is just kind of showcasing our two lockups. We wanted to make sure that we had one that worked in more of a tight circular form, as well as a really established and impactful horizontal form. Next slide, Joey. And so now we wanted to talk about what's next for Mountain View Golf. Next one. And that would be our Mountain View Golf Shop and the new grab and go option, which we're so excited to unveil later this month. That would be the Links. As you can see, we've got an all new brand for the Links as well. And it's going to be a grab and go shop with all kinds of treats and grab and go conveniences right there at Mountain View Golf Club. It'll be shared in the same space as our golf shop. And so you'll be able to grab a snack, a new polo, a hat, anything of the sort. We're very excited and we can't wait to showcase that later this month. And Michelle and I are both excited because there's one missing piece that you're not seeing yet, And we've decided that today is the day we're ready to showcase that. And so this is the new face of Mountain View Golf Club. We were going to wait and surprise you guys on the grand opening day, but since the course has had its ups and downs, we thought this would be an exciting thing to launch and get everyone ready for the course. So to break down this logo, you can see it shares a similar kind of shape and orientation to our Preserve logo. I think some people might have been a little confused on why the Preserve logo had that kind of semicircle shape surrounding it, but I hope that after seeing this Mountain View logo, you'll understand that they were supposed to be sister logos, and so that shape kind of ties into our Mountain View logo that has a similar, almost 360 crescent around it. The upper arc, we've said, echoes the wide open skies you'll find above our course. The lower arc showcases the stunning scenery surrounding the new course that's freshly renovated. And the two mountains form an M shape, while there's also white space in the middle that alludes to the V in Mountain View. We're very excited about this because it is a new generation of branding for Saddlebrook 2's golf, and these logos work amazingly well together, which is something that myself and all the past marketers for this organization have struggled with, as the Mountain View logo and the Preserve logo of the past were designed in completely different eras, and while they were both beautiful in their own way, they did not exactly work well together, kind of like fighting siblings. These are the new brand colors of Mountain View. So we have a kind of orangey brown copper color that ties in with the Preserve while standing out on its own. And then, of course, a really light beige that we're calling Sands that is just a good indicative color of the Tucson area. We know most golf courses have a blue and a green logo or some sort of fun natural color. We, as Invited and Troon and SB2 Marketing, wanted to stand out from the crowd and kind of make a new path for golf course logos, and we hope you'll be able to get behind us in that pursuit. And so to unveil the new Saddlebrook 2 golf portfolio, we've got both of our new logos, and as you can see there in the lower left, you can see how well those two symbols work together now, since they both have that circular kind of essence, and the colors are different, but they work together well. So we're really excited for all the marketing opportunities and just brand overall that we can have now with that new look. And also, I forgot to mention, if you'll notice, the Lynx logo is actually a piece of our Mountain View Golf logo broken off, and we thought that was a kind of neat tie-in for that new snack shop to be a sub-brand of the Mountain View Golf Club.
Well, thanks, marketing team. That was really informative and exciting that we've got that new logo out. So now is the time when we can ask questions. We're going to have a 2-minute limit, please, per question. We can ask anything of our panelists here on what they may have forgotten or might have sparked your interest. Just state your name. We don't need, for this type of meeting, we don't need a lot number and thing. So if anybody wants to line up and ask questions, be our guest.
Jim King. Question about the bunkers, and I apologize, I think you were covering it when I walked back in, at least specific to 1 or 2 bunkers, but my golf group asking about all the bunkers. Have all the bunkers been stripped of the old dirt and rock? Have they been lined so that it doesn't come back? Are they now drained? And do we now have nice sand and not dirt in the bunkers?
You did miss my presentation.
I only missed 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes to everything. The bunkers have been totally rebuilt. If you remember, we had 70,000 square feet of bunkers on Mountain View. That's being reduced to 45,000 square feet. They're also being designed to facilitate maintenance. One of the big issues about big face bunkers is maintaining those bunkers, especially in the monsoon season. So you're going to see the bunkers, every bunker has been rebuilt. What I mean by everything that was in the bunker was taken away. The ground was reshaped. In many areas, the bunkers have been moved. The ground was shaped. A rough finish was completed. Then the finish team came in. And when they finished, they shaped it properly, edged it properly, put the edging on where the sod goes over the edging, and then put the liner in. after they put the drainage in, the herringbone drainage. In other words, in every bunker, there's this series of channels that goes to the lowest part of the bunker with a drain line that connects into the coarse drain. Every bunker is drained. The liner is in there to prevent rocks from coming up like we enjoy in all of our bunkers today. That's not going to happen in the new bunkers. You've got state-of-the-art bunkers you're going to be playing golf in. Thanks for the question.
I'd like to add just a little to that response. So, as Matt said, with the big, tall face bunkers or whatnot, a lot of those tall faces have been, they've at least been softened. So, which makes it a little bit easier to get out of those bunkers, which also makes golf more fun, which makes you want to play more. Now, we can't redesign the golf course to make you a better bunker player, but come visit your local PGA professional.
Hi, I'm Bob Troon. I've been annual for about 4 years, and maybe the question is to Seth or to Matt. I've never heard, maybe I've just looked in the wrong places or listened to the wrong things, but what is the contract price on the agreement that was assigned by the previous outfit to Troon? What is it, a month, a year? How does that work? I'll tell you, I've had people ask me this on the golf course all the time, and I just have to say I have no idea.
It's a complicated question.
I don't know. I thought maybe it was a dollar amount or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to, but is there a number? Or?
There is a number.
Okay, what is it?
The question we're having is, are we supposed to talk about it out loud?
Well, we had, there was...
Wait a second.
Dan's...
Wait 1 second.
Sure.
It's very open for all of us. Remember, we're paying $10,000 a month for Troon, as we did with Invited, to manage both golf courses. And that $10,000 a month brings all of the things that Seth talked about in his Troon presentation, and before that was with Invited. So we have advantages, the discount of the vendors, we have huge support for construction, all of those things. That's what we pay. It's a very open thing, and everyone should know that. It's not an embarrassing thing to talk about, but that's what that contract calls for. So it's what that contract is 3 years. So we're starting into year 2 right now. And that contract will continue then through 2020, actually August of 2025, if you remember that.
Okay, no, it does. Thank you very much. Maybe I'm out of time, but I just wanted to see if the people who did the logo...
One question per run through, so.
You know what that is?
Excuse me.
Okay.
Well, we have a rule. One per, get back in line and we can ask another question, but we have to go the other way.
Rochelle Davies. When you're playing Preserve right now, because we only have the Preserve available, you have people that are playing 18 holes and you have people that are playing 9. And with 18 holes available, it works really well, right? What happens when we only have the 9 holes starting the 9th? Are you going to allow for 18-hole play, or will it only be 9? And how will you figure out how to, if it's for both, to work all those people in, that some want 9, some want 18, and because there's only 9 holes?
That's a good question. So how are we going to handle tee times once we close the preserve and then open Mountain View or the back nine on Mountain View on October 9th. So Mike and I are working with Forties to see if we can make some adjustments to the lottery. So I don't have a solid answer for you yet, but it is something that we're discussing, and we're trying to get some technology help for that. So just hold tight. That's what I would tell you right now. But it's something that's really at the top of our list. We're trying to get a good solution. Okay. We have some ideas.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, you know, as I'm sitting there, like I planned for our Monday golf.
Sure.
And I have to figure out what courses to go ask for, right?
Well,
and I'm thinking, well, if I'm only going to get 9, maybe I'll want to go to El Conquistador. Maybe
Gotcha.
I'll want to go to Saddlebrook Ranch.
Gotcha.
You know, because
Yeah.
we like to play 18, but
Totally get it. Stay tuned. That's what I would say. You'll see some information come out pretty soon. We just don't quite have a technology answer for it yet, but we're working on it. Okay, but thank you. Good question.
Greg Cahill, I guess this question is for Seth. I know other Troon courses have a trail fee. Is there a plan for all this concrete we're pouring now to add a trail fee on, or would that be included in an annual?
There is no plan for a trail fee at this time.
Thank you very much.
Charlie Clark, good afternoon. I'd like to take hats off to the marketing team for a well-planned presentation and a program. I know how important that is. Second comment, Matt, I've heard you say in the previous meeting of the board, as well as today, that you didn't receive a schedule from the contractor when you started. My comment is I'd like to pass along a recommendation to the board, having a background in construction and development, that you only sign contracts when there is a performance required, and that contract stipulate very clearly the expectations of the contractor and the owner. That can be as simple as a Gantt chart. It can be a precedence diagram. It can be a critical path. And both long-term and short-term can help the board and the people who are responsible for the project to really keep their hands on and understanding of what's supposed to be done, not only after the fact, and I'm glad you're documenting what's being done, but the horse is out of the barn when you don't have a schedule to begin with. And as the old saying goes, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So recommendation of the board is we start the utilization, if we haven't been doing in the past, but in this one particular case, we obviously haven't, in some type of critical path schedule that is measurable. And the second part of that is that when you're putting money at risk, contractors on the line as much as the owner. And there's such a thing as called liquidated damages. And if we come in late on this project, every day that we are late where we expected income will be income lost. That goes back on the shoulder of a contractor in many cases. And I'd recommend the consideration of those ideas to the board. Thank you.
Hi, Don Gunther. My question involves the condition of the bunkers at the preserve. Are there any plans for near-term improvements, or are we stuck waiting for the next scheduled major renovation?
You, sir, are stuck. But let me give you the rest of the story. Today, our treasurer, Campbell Cheney, has been working with our finance committee since May. And there's a task force that's been developed, that's been put together, that is looking at the preserve problem. Right now, we're in the middle of the 2024 budget development process and a 5-year plan development process. And all of that has to have considerations about the preserve rebuild considered in it. Today, we have 8 courses of action developed. The task force that's been developed is in the getting ready to take our information to the Finance Committee itself, at which all those courses of action are going to be made available if you come to a Finance Committee meeting or a board meeting when we're discussing these things. But what you really need to know is that the board's looking very hard past the rebuild of Mountain View and how we get this preserve rebuild into our long-range plan. So more to follow. We don't have a definitive date for you today, but we're working it very hard.
Okay, thank you.
Don, I can tell you that the golf maintenance team has done a really nice job in the last couple of weeks of trying some things that have made the bunkers a little better. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But if you look at like the front bunker on 2, they actually added a little sand to that and fluffed it and made that quite a bit better. There was one other one, I think, on 4, if I remember right. But they're not going to be dramatically better until we're able to get into the rebuild process, as Matt said. But we're doing everything we can to try to make them as good as we can, for sure.
I'm Ed Brogan, just a member here. And I've been startled by the logos coming out. I'm an ardent Christian. I would not want to see a cross on the logo. I find it really troubling to see a crescent moon on the logo, which is primary in another religion. There are many ways to represent mountains besides a crescent moon. And that's what's got me on the preserve logo. The new one for here doesn't show that so much. But gee, it'd be nice to have some give and take with the community before coming up with the logos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bob Cronigan. This doesn't have anything to do with the golf, but I was sitting back here. I knew I'd seen the crescent and the moon someplace before. It doesn't bother me, but I think I know a lot of people that it might bother, in the community, because it's a symbol of Islam. And so I just I didn't know if that had been thought through or not. If it had, and you're good with it, fine. If it hadn't, I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Boy, a bunch of satisfied golfers. Oh,
One more question on Mike. Come down to the mic, if you would, please, Mike.
yeah, everybody needs to hear, so.
Well, it's being recorded.
It's being
Yep,
recorded.
and being recorded, exactly.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet. Well, first of all, thanks for everything you do. I've been on boards. I know you always do everything wrong. You never do anything right. So, but my question is on metrics. So Invite Troon has been with us over a year. So what metrics can you share with us, maybe not today, but when will you share metrics to show, have the number of play dates or, rounds of golf increased? Have the revenue increased? Have expenses gone down? That type of thing to show to us that the decision is working in the right direction.
Yeah, no, that's a great point you make, and actually it was a conversation we had at lunch, that's something that, we want to communicate on a frequent basis to the group, just what's that scorecard look like. I will tell you that the last time I presented, which we think was, what did we say, April or May? April or May, that was my entire presentation was, okay, here's everything that we've accomplished to date. There was some pretty substantial savings with the fleet of equipment through Toro. We were really happy with the annual pass sales. And then obviously this year has been a unique year
right,
because of the Mountain View shutdown. But we agree with you. We need to make sure we're demonstrating all that progress and the value, and that's really a big part of what our company does for all of our clients. But yes, in our last presentation, that was the entire purpose of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Terry?
We got to do better, Mike. That was the conversation at lunch.
Hi, Terry McCarthy. A question. I've got binoculars, so I've been watching what I can from the road or wherever. The question I have is, I noticed by the driving range there used to be a big pile of concrete, looked like old paths or whatever torn up, and I noticed today that's gone. Just curious of what happened. Did they get buried or did they haul it off?
It disappeared.
I know.
It was magic.
Was there something in the sky that came over?
Isn't it magical? How did that mountain of concrete disappear one day? His name is Javier. And what he did, right next to that concrete pile, he dug a great big hole. All that concrete went into the hole, all the dirt went back over. So if you notice, the area between 18th Fairway and the driving range, it's now higher because all that concrete's buried and all the dirt was put back over top of it.
Did you put the herringbone drainage in it too?
No drainage. We didn't pay for that.
Oh.
Dave Rutkowski. When will projections of revenues, number of rounds played, all those kind of things going forward between both courses and costs and those kind of things? And are you projecting a profit such that your homeowners who do not golf are not paying for something they're not getting?
Dave, is that like people that don't swim pay for swimming pools?
Absolutely.
People that don't play tennis pay for tennis courts?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we all pay for everything, okay? But your question is fair about looking at the analysis associated with rounds played. What you're really getting at is the subsidy. How successful are we going to be at reducing the subsidy? That's what we're all engaged in. Okay, at the end of the day, we're working real hard to make that happen. But the data sets are going to be available. It's not like they're hidden. So I'm not sure what you're after.
I sent you, all the board members of HOA 1 and HOA 2, both my projections for golf for the next 10 years in February and in March. I also have got Troon to send me a nice analysis of our place if we were combined the savings that could happen. And the less usage of, we know we're overbuilt at 63 holes here at Saddlebrook. How do we stop fighting with each other and help all of us together with golf?
I appreciate you bringing that up. Yesterday, Dan Liniger and Joanne, the president of HOA 1, and another board member and I had lunch to discuss that very topic. We're working on it, sir.
Thank you.
Coming up, Don, since you were mentioned so often in the presentation, you may as well.
I feel like we picked on you, Don.
This is for Seth. I'm just real curious about how Troon goes about critiquing our golf courses, and then how you go about bringing good ideas from the Troon family to our golf courses to improve our quality of play. And then, is it an ongoing process, or do you critique it on a regular ongoing basis, and then you present to the board or golf operations how to make this a better place? So I think our whole goal here is just to make this the best experience we can. And I'm not real clear on how often and to what extent Troon is incorporated in making that happen on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis.
Right. Yeah, very good question. So in the presentation that I made, we talked about all the various areas of support and resources that Troon has, with Troon being the largest operator of clubs in the country. We have a very robust support team, and thankfully a high number of them are in the Phoenix or Scottsdale office, which obviously, as I mentioned, is so close. So there's several different ways the company adds value or provides support. I mentioned one of them being the purchasing program, right? So Saddlebrook is now qualifies for all Troon pricing, and that would cover fertilizers, chemicals, seed, equipment, golf carts, now food, maintenance supplies, pool supplies, everything you can think of, anything that you'd be purchasing here, we're going to have a national account. So that's all creating efficiency on an everyday basis. Beyond that, in terms of bringing ideas to the forefront or making improvement and progress, oftentimes that's done through our specific area support people, our departmental support people. So there's an agronomist, a regional agronomist that is a Troon resource that works specifically here with Saddlebrook. And so what he does is, and I'll kind of run through the rest of the group. So there's an agronomist, there's sales and marketing, there's food and beverage, there's purchasing, there's legal, there's HR, payroll, risk. So I had that screen that had them all listed. There's people and departments behind all of them. Specifically, say like agronomy or sales and marketing, they're going to actually make course visits. Those course visits can be, almost as frequent as we want or need them to be. With these resources being within a couple of hours, it's really easy for them to get to the club, and they have other clients in market, so they're here anyway. The other area I forgot to mention was retail. Retail, there's a specific regional assigned to Saddlebrook in terms of merchandise. So they're gonna visit the club. They're gonna put together course reports. They're gonna have interaction with those department managers that are on site. They're going to support them through phone calls, emails, text messages. They're going to send over best practices when they come across something at another club. New programs that are created through the corporate office, those are going to get shared through the regional into Paul or Matt or their teammates. And so that's how it happens. It happens through visits. It happens through phone calls, email, and just regular interaction. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Don, let me, we got a very active president of the HOA, and he's digging into all the corners with Troon. To give you an example of the last month, we've had the lead golf course construction manager for Troon here to look at the preserve golf course for us, part of our planning sequences. This past week, we had Mark hosted his assistant and a contractor that Troon uses to look at our golf maintenance shops, both at the preserve and at Mountain View. These services came to us at no cost. Denise works very closely with the golf shop merchandising team that was here this past week because I introduced myself to him when Matt was working with them in the new golf shop. So we are doing everything we can to pull the expertise out of Troon to come here, and Dan's really been the forefront of making that happen. So we're very excited about the fact that every one of those services, except for the merchandising, came at us at no cost. And we're very committed to utilizing all the services and capabilities, experience, and genius that Troon can bring to make our operation better. And it's not just about the golf course physically, it's about every aspect of the golf enterprise.
Another question?
Hi, my name is Michael Buckley, and I'm surprised that no one's talked about this yet, but when Mike Gogol came out with his original proposal for redoing the course, his price estimate was around $2 to $2.5 million. But then time went by, inflation went crazy, and now when the plan was finally posted, how much it would cost for the course, it was up to $5.7 million. Now it sounds like you're, because of certain aspects of the course and problems getting things done, a lot more sod was required, which is more expensive than planting grass, seed. And so what are we talking about for cost overruns and a total cost for this project?
Thank you for asking that question, sir. There are no cost overruns. Our contract price is our contract price. All the materials that were purchased came in at the contract prices, with one exception. Mark would jump down and tell you we had a change order for $40,000 for sand. That is the only change order we've had associated with this project from the original bid. From a cost perspective, we're on target.
Well, thanks panelists for answering all those questions. Thank you for coming out and supporting your HOA and the golf enterprises. Remember, these are our golf courses. Let's enjoy them. Let's watch over them carefully, take good care of them, and participate with them. Thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate you.